Hello and welcome to today's webinar, Moving to SAP S/4HANA Cloud, the Smart Press Shop Success Story, hosted by SAP Insider and presented by Illumity. My name is Michael Fusito from SAP Insider, and I will be your moderator today. We have just a few announcements before we begin. This webinar is designed to be interactive between you and the presenters. After the presentation, we will host our Q&A session. We invite you to submit your questions using the Q&A text box within the console, and we will answer as many questions as time permits. A copy of today's presentation will be emailed over to you following the presentation. Now on to today's presentation. Discussing today's topic will be Steve Tate, Head of Channel ERP at SAP North America, Roman Friedel, Pre-Sales Team Lead at Syntax, and Timo Bohm, Project Manager at Smart Press Shop. Now, Steve, over to you.
Great, and thank you. Just confirm, Michael, you do see my presentation?
Yep, you're good to go, Steve.
Fantastic. Again, thank you and welcome to Moving to SAP S/4HANA Cloud, the Smart Press Shop Success Story. As mentioned, I am Steve Tate, North America Head of Sales for S/4HANA Public Cloud. Looking forward to discussing our SAP strategy in the cloud and our go-to-market principles. Basically, what we're looking at is how have we finally met our customers at a precipice of change, and where does SAP get more informed with our customers' challenges and drives our innovation story moving forward. This was accelerated due to COVID-19 and the need for us to have a much more agile software platform that our clients would be able to actually leverage and also be able to adopt mission-critical system requirements in an area in which the supply chain has been disrupted. Going in the office was no longer a possibility. And at that time, it really drove forward and accelerated our path to the cloud for our clients' technology stack. Again, we talk about adopting an agile business. And what that means is, again, making sure that we are able to be flexible with our clients and understand that a system that might be required for our clients is not simply technology at a point in time, but an ever-evolving ability to adopt and transform your technology stack with SAP providing that for you as a client. This helps drive much stronger efficiencies and, most importantly, change management for our colleagues that are leveraging their SAP technology to ensure they're using it the way in which they intend to use it, not in the way in which the SAP has maybe developed it in the past. We want to bring the technology available to you to help drive, again, technology adoption for our clients. We obviously know that when we talk about cloud, it is modernizing the entire technology stack for our clients. That means that you'll have efficiencies, you'll have upgrades, you have the ability to leverage industry best practices on a regular release schedule that will be able to be adopted as you continue to begin your journey into the cloud. One additional thing that SAP is very focused on is ensuring that, again, we're driving sustainability. As we get into the cloud space, we're obviously lowering our carbon footprint and impact in the environment, making sure, again, that we are being a responsible provider for IT services for our clients, but also allowing our clients to also emulate that carbon impact as well within their own mission critical applications. When we talk about cloud, I think it's very important that we look at this quote from McKinsey. Some people do believe that just simply adopting cloud is lowering IT costs. That really is a part of it, but really what we're noticing from our clients is that it's allowing them to actually really innovate in an extreme way and optimize the utilization of their technology layer. No longer it being a cumbersome task to adopt technology, but leveraging it at the time in which you hope to achieve the successes from a ERP platform and or extensibility that we are able to provide. What we've developed is a strategy called Rise with SAP. And what this is providing is, again, an intelligent, sustainable enterprise within the cloud for each of our clients. That means we're meeting people at their business needs and business requirements as a surface. We think it's very important that we drive an industry best practice through all of our extensibility, knowing that we understand that every client is unique. We drive in those 25 different unique industries and requirements that are necessary for each unique company to be able to leverage a technology stack that understands them and truly are partnering together to inform us of what are your unique requirements as they continue to develop through our future enhancements and releases. We also believe that we should embed technology that's required for most clients nowadays. Our C-suites live within analytics and business process intelligence. And with that, we've embedded that within our core Rise offering for our clients. And again, I think what we talk about when we talk about cloud, it's really driving a predictable TCO and realization of value very quickly. When we do drive a cloud-based solution, you have accelerated timelines for implementation, which then drives accelerated adoption within your user base. And of course, the TCO that our finance offices always love to make sure we're on time and on budget with. Taking a quick look at what SAP has embedded within our SAP S/4HANA Cloud solution, we're driving again our years of experience within the ERP platform. SAP being the innovator of creating ERP, we are driving together within our clients to inform what those best processes are and best practices are for each unique industry. And that's embedded within our application suite. We talked a bit about insight and intelligence, but also the ability to leverage machine automation, machine learning, robotics, embedded analytics to be much more informed and be on the cutting edge of technology available for those clients. Again, fast time to innovation. We talked about how we want to make sure we provide a cloud-based solution that can be adopted quickly. Gone are the days for us to have 2-year plus implementation cycles for clients to be able to adopt a full ERP suite. Our goal is, again, to give you something that is leveraged as soon as possible to really drive that innovation for your organization. With SAP managing the cloud infrastructure, we're very focused on security and compliance for our clients. Again, making sure that the people that are touching your system are going to be the ones that are responsible for that. You no longer have to have the risk of having outsourced IT services to multiple different providers. SAP is providing that security and maintenance for you all. We did talk about the embedded best practices. We leverage a community of partners that also extend the best practices, specifically within verticals and micro verticals with unique expertise that they know and drive the innovation stack for our clients. We know that we are a global organization. We know our clients also require global requirements as well. This informs our localization, legal changes, and for us to continue to provide the most current compliance system as you continue to expand globally within your practice and have those unique requirements come in through your businesses. UI, I think it's important for us to understand that for a client to adopt a overall all-inclusive ERP system, you can't be logging in from different screens in different point of time. Our SAP Fiori landscape allows for us to have a very unique UI that's built upon your requirements as they go from role to role and responsibilities, processing transactions throughout a traditional SAP platform. And again, we understand that we have to have the ability to extend. Our clients are leveraging technologies that are beyond just SAP technologies, but also require best of breed and best practices within other application suites. And SAP is very focused on extensibility integrations as a openness built within our application suite. We want to call out that this is not a new strategy for SAP. SAP has been focused on building out the cloud, specifically with our S/4HANA public cloud solution. Amongst our successes that we've had, we have 200+ million user customer base. We find it interesting that about 87% of all global transactions touches an SAP system through our customer base. And of course, we mentioned how we innovate with our partner ecosystem to extend our application to meet the client's needs as they require them throughout the globe and each unique region. Moving forward, I wanted to make sure that we showed just exactly what kind of community we do have supporting our SAP S/4HANA cloud base. We have use cases across multiple different industries with many different clients. But today I'm very excited to call out that we are working and partnering together with Smart Press Shop to leverage SAP technology specifically within their business. Together, we are partnering with them and our partners here at Syntax. So I'm happy to introduce through the success story our partners, Smart Press Shop, Timo Baum, and also Syntax, Roman Friedel, who will take you through a brief conversation about their success and their experience so far with S/4HANA, SAP S/4HANA Cloud.
Let's go into the introduction of the Smart Press Shop. What is the Smart Press Shop about? The Smart Press Shop is a 50-50 joint venture from Porsche and Schuler with about 160 people in 2020. The Smart Press Shop acts like a tier 1 on the market. So it's not a Porsche or a Schuler's styrene. Our portfolio is to press parts, especially the outer skin of a car. So really the design, for example, of a Porsche, or structural parts, for example, they're needed for crash reasons, and even car body parts assembly. We can cut parts without tools with the laser, and we have tryout capacity, and everything from one hand. So we started in 2019 on a green field and had a very, very tough timeline to build up the smart press shop. And in 2021, in March, we started to produce and had the start of production with the first parts. So let's start a video how the smart press shop looks like. So I hope you got a nice introduction into the smart press shop. What is it about? Like having tools of 50 tons prepared for which are pressing these parts, and yeah, and what you can touch and what you can see. That's not everything what smart press shop is about. And so we will have a deeper dive into what is like the processes behind, and even the IT concept and the philosophy of the smart press shop. And in the beginning, I just want to give you a small overview about the supply chain. What are we talking about? We have material suppliers for the coils. They deliver the coils to us and we can cut them ourselves, or we have suppliers who are cutting them for us and sending us the blanks, for example. Then we have component suppliers for parts, smaller parts, glues, nuts, bolts. In the smart press shop, we can cut with a laser without tools. Then we have the forming process in 6 stages. And then in the end, we may have an assembly, or we just deliver the raw part to our customers. And afterwards, we even have a subcontracting part where we have cleaning and passivation, which is done by a supplier, but it's in our in our focus. So we we have to we delivered, or it's a it's a subcontracting, so we deliver these parts to our customers afterwards. And so in the beginning of the project, we thought about like what are the principles we will base this company on. And so we said, like, we want to have automated and self-optimizing processes. We want to have resource-saving production. We want to have a real-time data available everywhere and every time, paperless production, digital documentation and worker guidance, and transparency across all processes, and a consistently networked IT. And these things may sound easy, but when you come to implement or get a real concept and real processes, like for example, for paperless production, you will really fast come to some issues or problems where you really have to solve things. I think Roman will show you like some apps what we did in, or what we programmed to even meet these requirements, or even transparency. Like you saw the outside and even the processes in the video, but when you want to have real transparency, you have to build up every process on the digital side, even every financial process or physical process, every movement of every part, and every step of production. So this is a very, very big thing in the end when we talk about these sometimes maybe a little bit easy sounding topics. And one big question is, why did we choose syntax and SAP? And for me, syntax and SAP, you cannot divide in our concept, because we have a software platform infrastructure as a service concept. So we don't have no local installation on our side. So we not even need someone to implement it. The SAP, for example, we even need a partner, a strong partner who manage it afterwards. And this is why we even came to cloud, because cloud is much more easier to manage on a software or platform as a service structure. Then why SAP? I mean, there are smaller softwares, maybe more agile, maybe more fitting to our special processes and so on. But in the end, a bigger software company is even having more functionality in the end. And if you look in the future, like not only today, but even like in 10 years, then you want to have a lot of functionality, because then you can grow in any direction as you want to grow this company. And yeah, this is even why we need a company size which is like medium or large to even meet our future plans, what we have in mind. And for sure, the timeline was very tough, I told you, and the cloud and even the software as a service and the standard products was a very, very big thing actually. And during that time, there were not a lot of cloud softwares for ERP and MES out there. And one thing what we really enjoyed in the last almost 2 years was the innovation speed of the updates that came into the software all the time. So we always have the latest software, and we always get the newest innovations, and we can implement it. So this is a very, very nice thing. And in the end, for sure, financial reasons, it's always a big issue. So you get a lot of functionality even for a smaller price if you do the implementation wisely. So Roman, maybe you want to introduce this very unique infrastructure.
Hi, Timo, thanks. Hello, everyone. My name is Roman. So, Timo, it's not really unique. This getting the standard. However, with Smart Press Shop, we made this already 2020. So that means customers like maybe you in the call looking forward to this scenario. And basically what we have done is in that case that we run, let's say, multiple software products from SAP, in that case, the S4HANA Cloud Essential, now called S4HANA Cloud or Public Cloud. We run sub-digital manufacturing for execution. Those are the two essential products what Smart Press Shop consume from SAP. In addition, we got the POC for the sub-analytical cloud, basically all the dashboards and reports. And then if you look to the left bottom, you see a small, let's say, pointed box with syntax. So basically, as Timo said, Smart Press Shop have no local hardware. So that means what we done is, in that case, we got a shared EDI platform for Smart Press Shop, and basically all the communication from customers and suppliers we then orchestrate with the syntax EDI platform in that case. So that means the sub cloud platform, or now called BTP, is connecting to our syntax data center where the EDI services are running. If you go a little bit to the right top, you see some virtual machines, like where you see the number 3, the cloud connector and the blend connectivity. This is basically the machine connection to, let's say, interact with your local shop floor equipment. We got a fully OPC UA Industry 4.0 integration into all of the software or hardware vendors. You see this at the bottom, where you see the Schuler equipments, the Alteco, the Bang, the GOM, the Porsche, and the Valco. So that means all of those integrations, we worked with the supplier very closely together in order to ensure that every of this vendor supports OPC UA Industry 4.0 integration. And on the right side, you see basically the network. So syntax supports Smart Press Shop also with the WAN, with the LAN, and with the wireless. So that means we got a fully integrated network as a service where we can manage all kinds of servers, switches, hotspots, cameras in that case, and everything is managed by the cloud with syntax in that case. And last but not least, Timo, I see at the right top that we won the Innovation Award 2021.
Yeah.
Would you like to say something about that?
Yeah, Roman, you can tell
All right.
what it's about. Yeah.
So the Sub Innovation Award is a unique award what you could receive as a customer from SAP, and as this scenario, what we have built together, so Smart Press Shop, SAP, and syntax together, we basically took some risk, of course, because it was new, similar to the Smart Press Shop with the greenfield, because this integration and this platform never existed before. And let's say with this, we was one of the first, let's say, digital manufacturing cloud implementation, and therefore we basically got the success point, and we got 2021 the Innovation Award for Smart Press Shop projects. And then, yeah, Timo, I would like to hand back to you.
Yeah, I think like 2 years ago, it was very unique to have this kind of infrastructure. And for sure, Roman, you said this is now maybe the standard, or yeah, similar how it may look like in even other companies in the future, for sure. Yeah, but during this day, it was really unique, and like as a pioneer, I think we won this innovation award because we went the first steps going this way. And yeah, we only have one IT employee in our company who's managing all of this, because we have this software and platform and infrastructure as a service 24/7 the total year. And I think this is something what you really have to understand. And just give you a very small hint about the timeline. So our project started in May 2020. Then like in August, we had the creation of the Golden Book pretty fast. And 2 months later, we already had the first go live with the financial and the procurement. And 1 month later, so 3 months after the detailed concept, we already had the go live of the ERP and the DMC separately. And yeah, in March 2021, so only a very few months later, we yeah, started actually the production. So the production was end of March, beginning of April. And yeah, for sure, since then, we're still improving the system and getting new optimizations and updates in and innovations and so on. But during this day, we are producing in the system. And so it was, I think, one of the fastest implementations, what I have heard. And
Timo, I can agree. I can agree with this. So if you can quickly go one slide back to this timeline. So classical projects like ECC and S4 on-prem or S4 PC implementation, I would say the average time was 9 or more months, especially if you're getting bigger and complexer, you need more time. And with this, of course, we got the benefit of a greenfield approach. However, to fully, let's say, go live 4 months after, let's say, the golden book and the kickoff in that case, it was a huge milestone for this pioneering work. And therefore, I can just say thanks to everyone. This was I would say, a tough project back in the days. Maybe, Timo, later on, you will bring some topics regarding the COVID situation.
Yeah, it was actually a tougher situation than not only tough, but yeah, it was hitting the COVID times. And Roman, yeah, how did we manage it?
Yeah, so first of all, we all got, let's say, we all got hit by COVID, and I would say in Germany it starts in March 2020. And basically everyone was sent to the home office, similar to, let's say, the worldwide situation. And as you saw, we started in May. The golden book was done in August, so that means this was the first couple of months in the COVID phase, and this was our starting point with the new normal. So we not just got a new factory on the greenfield, we not just got a new software, in that case DMC and S4HANA public cloud, we also got the COVID thing. So that means no one of us could go on site to the factory, could talk and work directly with the customers, even could drink a beer together with the customer. This wasn't there because all the restaurants and bars were closed back in the days. So that means what we have done is we fully managed this project remotely. My first on-site was basically 1 week after the go live. So how did we made it? So we focused, of course, on the best practice. So that means we won best practice up and down, left and right, in order to be in the standard process of the SAP S4HANA Cloud. Why? Because Timo mentioned earlier, SPS would like to have the latest and greatest. And this is important, of course, for the cloud to stay in the standard. And then if you look to the number 5, you see the remote team building. This was basically our let's say 15th of March go live picture, where we got all, let's say, responsible people together. We got a remote celebration. We basically sent a present to everyone's home. And then we drank Prosecco or beer together, and we used the great team features because we wasn't able to meet more than 5 people on site at the factory. We fully run the project in the activate method. So that means we run through the prepare, explore, realize, and deploy phase. We fully run in the agile approach. And this helped us a lot that we basically could show Timo and the other colleagues from SPS, I would say after 2 weeks within the sprint, immediately some features and some functions. So that means instead of having a 4 or 6 month time, and then we basically put all the features and functions to the customer worked by themselves after 2 months within this first sprint. How did we made it? We fully worked on the O365 platform. This is also managed by Syntax for SPS. So that means we work on, of course, Word, Excel. We fully use the Teams. We also use the Planner as a planner app. And of course, all the collaboration tools what Microsoft offer. Timo, anything to add from your side?
Actually, not really. I think this like the best practices, the activate method, the key user strategy that we had was very good. And for sure, we invited all the project members via video into the Smart Press Shop to really get to know the processes directly. So yeah, we had a lot of effort to even do this. Roman, you may remember our video, what we made at the Smart Press Shop to present all the team members, how the processes and so on. were on site. So actually, for sure, yeah, this is not the optimal way, but we wanted just to say that it is possible to do a lot of remote work. But for sure, in the end, in January, we started like dry runs, or we called it ghost runs, where the syntax team was remotely connected, but the smart press shop team was directly physically on the shop floor, and yeah, was executing the processes in the SAP and so on, because otherwise you don't really get into. So you always need some part of physical on-site process learnings for sure. But yeah, Roman, let's go into the cloud-based production as a service. Actually, I already mentioned a lot, that's why I didn't want to go too deep here inside, but I think what we really profit is the web-based applications, so we can really, like, the remote work where we did, it was a very advantage of the cloud, so everybody could work from home and do what you had to do from home, actually. And I think this was one of the biggest things. So what we even implemented in the smart press shop is the end-to-end traceable product. So for us, it's very important, even for the component tracking, but to assign the process data to even every component, to in the end get a quality control loop, so to predict the quality, or and using big data and artificial intelligence. And yeah, we even did this from the supplier to the customer. So Roman already said that we had this EDI, so we even get via EDI a lot of information. Not only we get more information about the product than a normal EDI message, not only for example procurement or billing or whatever, but we get material data via EDI, for example.
Timo, let me add some words. So yes, we work on, let's say, normal EDI connection, as most of automotive customers would have worldwide. However, what we said, we would like to have more data than, let's say, a standard customer in that case. So that means you see, we got this number. Basically, we know this number 9A0, something like that, was out of the coil ID ABCD. However, this coil, we know basically when it was melted, when it was basically welded, etc. All the topics we know from the coil. So that means in order to, let's say, also being future-proofed, Timo probably will tell something later about sustainability. So that means in case we need to track tomorrow the CO2 footprint, we know already from today that what was the CO2 footprint from the raw material. And then, let's say, with all these track and trace products, we know, of course, what is our footprint inside of the factory. And here you see, let's say, some of our architecture points. So that means starting from the top, from the bottom section, sorry, that means all of the major steps will be integrated. So that means we have a laser blanking marking, we have the part scan at the press line. All of this is fully integrated, that by end of the day, if Porsche or some other customer in the world have a customer claim regards the product A, we can go into our track and trace system within SAP, and also for the details within the Schuler track and trace, and we can identify each single part. Something what you probably recognized in the slide before, why the hell is Smart Press Shop not printing a 2D label or something, or a 2D barcode onto the welding? If you haven't been on site in a smart press shop or in a similar press shop plant, you will not see how the speed works. Timo, maybe you can add some figures regards the speed and the force, or maybe the size of a PXL press, and then you can understand, of course, why we print or why we basically laser a number and not a 2D code.
Yeah, I mean, We laser a number, especially in the laser blanking, like we have a higher speed than in the press line actually. So we talk about like 20 or up to 50 parts per minute. So almost every second one part. And so we really talk about like very fast velocities. And so a 2D part code takes too much time to print on. And even for the reading afterwards in the press line, it's really hard. The laser blanking is almost 100-meter long, and the press line is almost 150-meter long. And we talk about press forces of like 2,500 tons. And yeah, when we talk about speed, for sure, in the press line, then we can, even with one stroke, we can like do up to 4 parts. So we talk about 20 parts or strokes per minute. So it's up to 80 parts per minute what you in the end may produce. So it's a very, very huge number. So we talk about widely more than 12,000 parts a day actually.
And each of the parts are serialized from the beginning until the far end.
And this is what we are saying when we are talking about transparency, like always knowing where's my product, always knowing what is the status. So you need this very connected IT system actually, from the ERP system to the MES to the machine and back, and all information's connected horizontal and vertical. And I think this is something very, very impressive actually to manage this, and to manage this not too complicated, in an easy or mostly easy way, so you don't have too many connections at all. So I think this is like the most intelligent thing. And for this reason, for the quality control loop, we have this visual inspection. And in the beginning, we start with manually visual inspection. So like what I mean is manually, that you have to train the system. Afterwards, it will tell you that there is an error. And in the end, you will automate this process with all the historical data, what you have. And so we have this assisted visual quality control, where the workers can feedback the conformances and non-conformances. And this is what we are implementing right now and improving right now. And yeah, Roman, I think this is something where you can maybe talk or tell us a little bit about the resource orchestration.
Yeah, thanks, Timo. So once we're coming to the, let's say, production management, a lot of customers basically talk about how can I schedule my production orders? How can I schedule something else? So within the Rio, we got, let's say, a multi-dispatching solution. So that means we could schedule, of course, the work orders, the production orders with labors and with the tools. Basically, we already got 3 dimensions. However, what we also do in that case is we're not just, let's say, scheduling only the work. Here in this case, maybe you see at the first line, you see Kran 1+2. This is a crane, it's just a German name. So that means the bottleneck situation in that case isn't let's say the press line, because the press line basically produce, but we have some offline setup and basically bringing the tools, what you saw in the video earlier, from the tool storage next to the press line. Why? Because once we have a setup, and this is something what you see maybe on the right side, where you see this long big bar where it's almost green filled, and then you see a small 9 in between. So that means we have up to 5 minutes of setup time between product A and product B. So that means all the outside, let's say, setup has to do before you go into the internal setup. And therefore, it's very important that we not just schedule the typical machines, we also work on, let's say, the peripheral stuff like the grain, like auto tooling thing, what you saw earlier. And this is for us a 365 orchestration for the shop floor.
Yeah,
Timo,
and when we
you.
talk about small batches, like we're talking about smart press shop. Smart press shop is even smart because we can handle really small batches for a press shop. Actually, we can handle batches like of, for example, a half hour. No, normal press shop can only handle batches like 1.5 hours, or maybe if it's really good and optimized, 1 hour. But we can even go lower than half hour batch size without having an interruption of the production actually because of this optimized crane work. Because like when you just change the tools and start production again, it's like it's only 3 minutes actually, Roman, what we are like from the last part of the first and the last production to the first part of the new production. But then you have to manage all these 6 tools getting into the tool storage, and it's 50 ton each, and getting back like 6 tools back for the next part.
Timo,
so this is very
amazing.
important, and even get an information about not only like people shouting, okay, I'm ready, or I'm done with this job, or where is my tool, and so on, but that every process is planned and every process is reported back and in real time. And I think this is a very big thing. And you see the green bar where you can even see how many parts are already produced of this order. So you get a real-time feedback even in this resource orchestration. Where is the status and how long even does it take? And I think this is a very nice thing. And as I mentioned, like the worker pods, like every process has to be planned and feedback, and so we need these pods for the worker where they confirm the production order, log downtime reasons, trigger inspection, reworks, log non-conformances, order or register material. So we have like the planks, we have to register at the press line, and in the end, like the parts are coming out and we need a quality inspection, or at some stages we need maybe a worker instruction, for example. So this is a very important thing for feedback, because not everything is, you see here, manual or automated. Not everything is automated yet, or is possible to automate. So we need this transparency. And I think then we come to smart logistics. And even here we need this transparency where we have automatically generated transport orders. So Roman, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so basically what we have done with Smart Logistic is, maybe you see the small yellow sticker or badge basically on top of the, on the left side of this, let's say, handling unit. So what we will do is basically we will generate automatically based on the app, and the app is really an iPhone, an Android web app, where let's say the forklift driver can basically scan in something and then basically execute some warehouse tasks. So for everyone who works within SAP in the past, we all know this is a great system. However, sometimes it's very stupid because you have to call multiple transactions or you have to press 10 buttons. It works for, let's say, classical office worker, but we all know for manufacturing worker or forklift drivers, it's a pain in the ass if you have to, let's say, work on multiple transactions and if you go from page A to page B. So what did we made is we created an end of line app. And if you remember earlier what Timo said, we produce up to 80 parts per minute. In one of the handling unit, there are maybe 60 parts in. So that means every couple minutes, a forklift driver has to get an empty handling unit and to get a full handling unit off and put this into the supermarket or into the storage. So with this, in that case, you see, we understand automatically you working on PXL1. This is our machine. And then you see the second line, Behälter. This is basically the physical identification of the handling unit. And then you check the carrier or the handling unit if it's empty or not. And then you basically have to scan the carrier. You have to press at the bottom process start. This will be in the backend create 4 activities. One is we create and move the handling unit from the PXL1 into the storage. We basically report the products what was consumed. You saw that earlier on Timo's green bar where it automatically move every time when a, let's say, forklift driver confirmed this app. We basically have all the carriers as an equipment. This will be updated and we generate the transport requests. In the past, all of this would be manually in SAP available, but basically it would be 4 or 5 activities or transaction or apps, however you call this, and it wouldn't just support the speed. And this is the important thing where we help Smart Press Shop. So SAP delivered all the standard features. So basically the process itself worked. However, what no one from SAP could know, of course, is that we produce up to that 80 parts per minute if we run on full speed and 4 cavities per stroke. This let's say this short time period, and therefore we basically create this app to do the standard SAP in the backend. And Timo, maybe you can add some words. What is the customer satisfaction, basically the forklift driver satisfaction for this app?
Yeah, the satisfaction is actually that he gets the full transparency and only have one click, one scan, one click. And for the people at the end of line, they even have the possibility to, like, if there's the last handling unit, there's not 20 in, there's only 15 in, so they can manually change it. Or if there's one for quality inspection, they can change the type of this. And so it directly goes into in the quality inspection warehouse and not in the normal warehouse where you can send these products out and so on. So yeah, I think this is a very for this kind of transparency, a very nice thing actually for easy worker experience actually.
Timo, to add some other points. So can you just show the iPhone again, please? So Timo said earlier, we are fully running on cloud. So that means even if there is a problem and maybe the logistics supervisor is already at home, what we know that running in 3 shifts with the Smart Press Shop, not all of the, let's say, of the positions are 3 shifts set up or positioned. So that means if the quality supervisor get a feedback and he's already at home, he just need to grab the iPhone. Instead of scanning the Behälter, the carrier, he has to type in this manually by himself, and then he can also do the booking from home. So that means everything is connected. You don't need to be in the factory. If you have an iPhone, if you have the authorization, you can work from everywhere in the world.
Yeah. And I think one second very, very nice thing what we implemented is the workerless gate for delivery. So we get via EDI from, for example, our customer Porsche, that a truck will arrive with this empty handling units or carriers, and then they even send us the license plate number, and so the gate will open directly. And I think this is even a very, very nice thing in smart logistics. And as Roman already mentioned, the sustainability is an even very, very big thing. And for sure, in the future, we will even have this thing that with each part, we have to deliver the amount of carbon footprint. And so I think we already doing the first steps to meet this requirement. We have the closed loop material. We can save with the closed loop material, we can save up to 90% of carbon footprint. It's a very, very lot, very much actually, 90% for alloy. And we have the paperless factory, So really no paper anywhere in any process. Everything is digital. We only use renewable energies. We have recuperation with energy storage in the, for example, in the press line. And with all this transparency and data and the technology, what we have in the press lines and in our SAP system and so on, we reduce already scrap, and we believe that we will reduce more scrap in the future when everything gets in line and the quality control loop is getting improved and so on, and the big data and the AI will lead us to the reduction of scrap and better quality. That's our belief, and that's why we are doing all of that. Yeah, actually that's it for now, but for sure Roman and I, we can talk hours about Smart Press Shop or what we did here, or about the DMC and the SAP S4HANA and so on. Yeah, just reach out to us if you have further questions.
Thank you, Steve, for the initial introduction, and to both Timo and Roman for sharing the Smart Press Shop success story. As a reminder to our attendees, you can participate in today's Q&A session by typing your question into the Q&A text box on your right-hand side and clicking submit. So let's start off today with a couple of questions for our speakers. So to start, what were the key criteria for you in choosing SAP S4HANA Cloud and Syntax?
As I mentioned before, we want to run the smartest press shop 24/7. So, and we want to focus on production. So we want to have employees in the production side or planning and improving, or not like a whole bunch of IT guys. So we needed at first a strong partner, so looking out for Syntax and a strong software. And yeah, when I talk about like how do we look on Syntax or SAP, then it's a little bit like a stock evaluation where you look in the future. And so a stock evaluation is not only the worth of today, it's the worth of the future, actually. And this is something how we look at software in this kind of way. And we see the most innovation or robust or lasting software with a lot of functionality in SAP, actually, and the long partnership with Syntax, because there are actually our IT department, our IT managing and everything around. So they take care about everything. So I think this is a very, very big thing. And it's not only SAP S4HANA, it's the public edition. And even this was not only was by fault, because we said we want a lot of standard, and we don't want to have this like sneak out too much. So even with the public, you have to stay more focused on the standard processes a little bit than on the private edition. For example, you have more flexibility for sure. So maybe for a bigger company, it's more suitable. But if you want to have like some boundaries even for something, I mean, it's not, I think it's not because of that's why it exists, but in kind of way, sometimes boundaries are pretty good for focus on the right or the solution, because otherwise the solution space is a little bit too wide for a small company.
Great, thank you, Timo. The next question I have here is, what are the biggest benefits of dovetailing SAP S/4HANA Cloud and SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud?
Roman, do you want to start, or you want to add some?
Yeah, of course, Timo, I could start. I think one of the let's say best thing is the tight integration. It's not that you got a S4 or ECC back in the days or an S4 on-prem system. It's really that you get a let's say one UI in that case. So that means if you're one end user, like you're an operator, you're a forklift driver, you have absolutely no idea if you're working in DMC or if you're working in S4 public cloud, because from the UI they are looking exactly the same. And we got this, let's say, smart press shop theme, so that means it's corporate branded, they got their logo on the left top. And the second part is, of course, the very, very close integration. So that means every action we execute during the shop floor process, we will be completely vertical and horizontal integrated from and to the S4 system. I think that's the two main topics from my side. And last but not least, let's say the third one is the DMC doesn't look like the typical, let's say, SAP transaction as you know from the past. So that means they are even much more user friendly, especially if we talk about shop floor users. They have not studied IT, they have not worked since 10, 12 years within the apps. In that case, it really that you only got 2 or 3 or 4 buttons. Timo, back to you.
Yeah, I think like the biggest 2 points are really the integrated processes or the integrated system and the same UI. This was one of the, I think, very, very nice things, and it's really important, so the people don't have to learn a lot of different systems. And the problem normally is when you come to MES system, the more fragmented the world is. Like you have an quality system, you have a warehouse system, you have maybe a different planning system, and then you have a different execution system and whatever and so on. So in the worst case, you have maybe 4 different UIs, for example. And then you have all, like the quality system, you already have an ERP and you pay double because you have this again on the MES side, and the warehouse system again. And I think even like for less interfaces, I think this is one of the big, I mean, the integration means less interfaces for the customer. For sure, for SAP, there are a lot of interfaces to handle with, but for us, it's easy because the interfaces are working. And when I see the biggest problems with other solution or external solutions, what we add on is the biggest problems are the interface. I don't know why it is like that, but actually to implement these or to update interfaces, or then they had a problem, then something changed and whatever, and it's not working again and so on. So they had a troubleshooting, and I think this is very important in that case, and less blind spot. But yeah, it's not really the question, but as you mentioned, Roman, the SAP Digital Manufacturing Cloud really does not look like a common SAP mask. And I think this is really something, when we choose the MES system, we actually in the beginning, Roman, you wanted to sneak in our ERP decision, and I kicked you out, yeah? And I said, no, we have other short lists and SAP is not on the list, and so yeah, go away. And we had a deep dive into 4 different MES systems, and especially the UI, I was not really satisfied with all of them. And not only the UI, even other things, but when it comes to the UI, I really was not satisfied with all MES systems I have seen. And then I said, okay, in the end, Roman, okay, now you get the chance and show us the MES system from SAP, because I was so unlucky that I couldn't decide. And in the end, yeah, SAP or you and SAP convinced us about the DMC. I think this is something I just wanted to mention.
Great. Thank you, Roman and Timo. Well, we are at the top of the hour, so I'll finish up with just one final question, and you can kind of compile that in with, any final thoughts that any of the three of you may have, and that is, what are the lessons learned that you have from this project? And like I said, you can tie that in with any of your final thoughts that you have as we wrap things up here today.
In my opinion, there is no perfect project, so there's always lessons learned. And my biggest lesson learned is actually, and that has something to do with the COVID. Every implementation or every project has to do with the people who are doing. So the biggest issue actually is to get the right mindset in all of the people who are handling or implementing or using the system in the end, and take them or motivate them to go in the same direction and have the right mindset and go forward with this or going this way. I think this is one of the biggest. So I would invest more in change management, or in our case it wasn't really change management, but actually something like change management. So more even interacting with the people, more feedback, more virtual meetings and coffee breaks or whatever, to even get this get the people on board. Yeah.
Yes, so for me, it's also this change topic. Why? Because even if we started in a greenfield and everyone thinks, oh yeah, this is an easy project because you start from scratch and you don't have your 20 years of SAP implementation as a backpack. Yeah, that's right. But think about it, that they also hired some people with experience from competitors, with experience from other automotive suppliers, OEMs, etc. So that means everyone got their own expectation for how the system should look like, how the process should work. And therefore this cloud mindset, the change basically to have also some team building sessions, having combined barbecues, drinks, whatever is the case, just to have a common mission.
Yeah, and the second thing on the lessons learned, I think, is even something had to do with COVID. I would start earlier. We call it dry runs. So you get your system, your end-to-end process, and you go even with not with a forklift if you don't have one. Like we didn't have a forklift in the beginning. But then you take something else like the washing machine and you try to simulate the processes. And even if you don't have parts, then cut out parts on paper or whatever, and try to handle them and so on, and do this process. I think there are two things why I would do this pretty much earlier, like three months earlier than we did it actually, because like we had the problem that COVID hit so much in winter, so we really delayed this. But two things that you improve with this is like you fix problems where on the computer it's no problem, but on site it's like 200 meters away from each other, where you put in this data and this data in the same mask, for example, and so you don't walk with the computer and going there and going back. So you have two computers to actually, you have to divide this, for example, the processes and so on. So you really get a feeling about if it's fitting together, the reality and the IT processes and so on. And the other thing is that you I mean, training of the people for especially IT, it's not that on the shop floor, that's not what they really want to do actually. But with this dry run, you really get them into the system, you see all the problems, and you train the people. I think training, this for sure, it's important. But in such a greenfield approach, you have so many tasks to do, and even the shop floor people. So it's actually normally their last priority to handle any IT system.
Well, I'd like to take the time again to thank the three of you today for the candid conversation. Our speakers, Steve Tate, Roman Friedel, and Timo Bohm. Unfortunately, that is all the time we have for today. In the event that we did not get to your question, someone from our team will follow up with you within the next few business days. We'd like to thank all of our attendees today for attending today's webinar. Shortly after today's live event, you will receive an email reminder to access the presentation on demand. On behalf of SAP Insider, as well as our guests at Illumity, we'd like to thank everyone for your time and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.